Well, anyway, we are live officially. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Bertie. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm trying not to break any. Everything's working today.
Yeah. Nothing is broken. Everything's working. We're live. We're here. The sun is shining.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day. We're talking about how to build a business you love.
Yes, we are. That's exactly what we're talking about today.
As the sun is shining, the autumn leaves are there, everything looks wonderful, the squirrels are playing in the garden.
If you've just joined us live, we're now with Debbie's Poetry Corner. So.
I'm not a poet, it's fine. But this is a subject that I love because I believe that if you're going to go to all the hassle of starting a business, launching a business, running a business, it might as well be something that you're enjoying doing. And oftentimes when I work with people, they've maybe got to a point where they're not loving it anymore, where it feels like it's overwhelming, a bit of a hassle. They're kind of confused about what they need to do next, probably a little bit worn out. And I think actually COVID and the past 18 months hasn't helped people's feelings of overwhelm and being worn out. And it has been tricky times for businesses to run. And so I think one of the things that I think is worthwhile doing is just almost going back to the reasons why you started in the business in the first place. If any of those things that I just said resonated with you, that you don't love it anymore, that you kind of feel a sense of dread, that you feel a bit overwhelmed, that you're a bit confused, that actually you're in control. And I think it's good to remind ourselves of that sometimes. And there, over COVID or in business in general, there are always going to be winners and losers, aren't there? We know that in the first 5 years, lots and lots of businesses don't manage to get through that period. But I believe if you love your business and therefore you can create something that's sustainable, and you're much more likely to be able to weather whatever things throw at you, whatever happens on that journey.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things to pick apart in what you were just saying, right? Like, I think everybody likes to say that they love their business, but actually, we all have days where we just think, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Everybody has those days. Unfortunately, that isn't generally what you see. Now, some people, do post their, all of the ups and the downs, and probably too many downs within their business. It's not something I do. So if I'm having a shit day, I will never post about it, like ever. That isn't because I'm trying to hide or try to make out that everything's perfect. Like, I've written about it and I'll talk about it now. It's just not something that I feel sharing at the time, because if I'm having that sort of day, the only person that can generally get out of a funk is me. And if I've got people like, you okay, hon? What's going off? Like, it's not going to make it any better. So, I don't choose to share those sort of things, but everybody has them. Everybody has those days where you just can't get out of bed. Does that mean I don't love my business? No. But I think comparison is the thief of joy, right? If you're scrolling through things and seeing all of these, everything's amazing, it's fantastic, it can make you think that. So I think you've just got to remember that people are only showing you what they want you to see, and everybody has bad days. It doesn't, just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean you don't love your business.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you can end up going down a bit of a cul-de-sac. And maybe you've made a few decisions that on reflection maybe haven't got you where you want to go, and you feel that you've kind of hit a metaphorical dead end, and that can make you feel a bit like, this isn't quite what I wanted to create, or I'm not working with quite the right clients, or I've not got the right partnerships, or whatever that looks like. And then you have to kind of take a step back and go back to that original proposition. Like, what was it I set out to do? What type of life did I want to create for myself? Sometimes, when I'm working with people, they'll be like, oh my God, I work all the hours that God sends, and I'm working at the weekend. And if I go on holiday, then I'm taking my laptop with me. And it's like, why did you start the business in the first place? To spend more time with my family. It's like, well, none of this is working, is it? So let's kind of go back. And I like to look for the thing I call the magic sauce.
Yeah.
Like, what's that magic sauce? What are the ingredients, the magic ingredients that's going to help you earn the money that you want to earn, work with the type of people that you want to work with, and have the time that you want to have? Like, time, money, and your clients and customers, getting those three right is tricky and hard. But once you found the magic sauce, you know, whatever makes it work, that's when you can start really enjoying it. And there's all sorts of elements that go into a sauce. You know, the metaphorical sauce, how many onions you put in, or a bit of tomato, or do you put some chili in there, or you could put in some garlic in there. You know, there can be many elements, and probably too many to talk about in this thing. But that's what I'm trying to do with my business all the time, and what I try and help my clients with. Because once you've found that, it can almost just run itself. And that's what you want, to get to this feeling where you're in flow and the business is working well, and everything feels, you're comfortable, you know.
And I think, yeah, building it, like what you said, like building a business that you love doesn't mean you have to love every single element of your business. So finding what those bits are. So I love things like this. I love talking to people, love the sound of my own voice. So recorded the day, loved it, had a great time. When I've then got to sit down and write captions and create the social media posts, etc., like, not really into it. Like, it's not really my thing, as you can probably tell. But I love coaching and talking to people and running group sessions. The admin, the paperwork, and everything that goes with that, filling out tenders to work with different things, hate it. So, you know, for me, I recognize that now. So I try and, you know, manage that other work, or try and automate as much of that other process that I can, so that I can just show up and do the stuff that I enjoy. And I think that's it as well. So just recognizing what you're good at and what you're really enjoying about your business is important. Because if you're spending a lot of time doing loads of chores and boring admin that you really hate, either outsource it or ask yourself, do I really need to be doing all of this right now? And just focus on the stuff you love. Because with any business, there's always going to be bits that you just don't like doing. And it's managing those, because they can really get on top of you. If you're waking up to a huge to-do list of loads of things that you've put off for weeks, and it's starting to build and build and build, and then your VAT returns tomorrow and everything else like comes on top of you, which was my life last week. It was like, shit, VAT return, forgot to send some stuff over. Then I ended up doing it till midnight. Yeah, you know, these things happen, right? It happens to us all. And I hated life. Like, I was just hated life, hated everybody that was around. I just disappeared for like 12 hours to get it all sorted. But you can manage these things with better planning, actually recognizing what things you're good at, what things you enjoy, and what actually can be automated and passed on to somebody else. So you don't have to love every element of your business to build a business that you love.
Yeah, totally. I like to call it an audit of what energizes you and what depletes you.
An energizing audit.
An energizing audit. Yeah. So you're like, oh, when I do these tasks, it lowers my energy and I don't feel this great. When I do these tasks, it builds me up and I'm excited and full of joy. Once you've kind of looked at all the tasks that you have in your business and you've worked out, do they energize me? Do they deplete me? Obviously, you want to do more of the ones that energize you. That's where the excitement is. And you want to try and do less of the ones that deplete you. Now, either they deplete you because you need to learn something and you're not quite sure. That's one thing. Or don't do it, or give it to somebody else to do.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, isn't it? It's like, I'm not enjoying doing this. It's sucking the life out of me. I hate life, which is what you just said. I hate life and everybody in it is awful. Pass that on to somebody else. There's some really great people that you can get in your team, VAs, people on Fiverr, on Upwork, like lots of resources out there for us to be able to utilize and bring into our businesses, so that we can focus on doing the stuff that we love doing and that's going to make the biggest difference in our business.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. And that's the whole thing about building something you love, isn't it? You don't have to do everything. There's always times you're going to have to do those things that you don't like. That's just normal. Again, doesn't mean you don't hate your business. It's just that, you know, sometimes, you know, maybe you didn't plan properly for, like me with my VAT return, for example. But also, like, if you're just starting out as well, I think it's really important to actually do something that you really enjoy. So, you know, I've spoken about this before. We've spoken about, there's loads of ads for, like, you know, copy this and drop shipping and stuff like that. And you know what? If you're into that, that's fine. That's fine, right? But I think if you're getting into it because of the money, the reward, it's not something you've got any experience in, interest in, or anything like that, that for you is going to be my VAT return. You're not going to enjoy it. Right. And it's difficult to outsource that stuff in the beginning until you really understand it. And if it's not something that you enjoy or understand or want to get into, then you're never going to get to that point where you can actually outsource. So it's very, very difficult. So it's much better to actually find something that you're good at, that you enjoy, that you like doing, that, you know, gives you those, like, those buzzes of excitement. Like if I do a talk, or sometimes even when I get off a discovery call with someone, I'll get off the call and be like, fucking, I was so good at that. Like I've changed that person's life in 10 minutes. And those are the things that make me feel really good. And that's why I do what I do. I don't do it for VAT return. I'm going to get loads of accountants now messaging me. Like,
we can help you with your VAT return, Bertie. What? Yeah, well, exactly. But you need loads of accountants to help you with your VAT return. Then you don't have to do it yourself, do you? I think there's a final thing in this I want to talk about, which is I think sometimes we can look at success through the eyes of other people's versions of success, and we can get caught up with what other people view success as, and then we start viewing our business through that. So for example, say that there's lots of stuff on there about you've got to be earning like multiple 6 figures to be successful, you can find yourself getting on that train, feeling like, well, because that's their goal, I'm going to now work to that goal. It's not really something that is important enough for you, and you can end up not loving the stuff that you're doing because you're judging your version of success on somebody else's. So I think also that's like a tunnel that some entrepreneurs get into, and in that case pull back and go, what does good look like for me? Like, because you might find that you only need to do earn 10% more to get where you want to go. I don't know, but I think a lot of the time we can start looking at other people and thinking, well, I want that. It's like, but do you really want that? Is that really going to make you happy?
Yeah.
And so making sure that you have your own version of what does success look like for me, and sticking to that and not being swayed by what everybody else is doing, which is kind of what you said about that comparison is the thief of all joy. Just being grounded in what you want and creating that for yourself and then meeting it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's a very good place to finish, isn't it? I think today, Debbie.
A very good place to finish. So the final thing, do an audit of your energy. What gives you energy? What depletes you? And define your own version of success. And therefore, you can build a business you love. Exactly. Finding the magic sauce.
Finding the magic sauce. And if you are struggling, with putting these systems in place to, to help and automate your business, not VAT, don't contact me for that. But, either me or Debbie can help you with these things.
We can help you with all these things.
We can help you pull out the bits that you like, do this audit, and then actually figure out, what stuff you should be focusing, what should be outsourcing. That's our day job now. And that's what gives us joy. So if you need help, you know where to find us. Actually, do they know? Right. We're easy, aren't we? Easy to find.
Easy to find. We're everywhere. We're like a rash. All right. Well, see you next week.
See you later. Bye. Bye.